Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Napoleon Total, and we're back with another Enlisted video. Today we're going to be doing Enlisted squad history. So what it is basically, we take the squad history of the units in Enlisted, for example, the 138th Division, and we just do it, we describe what happened to the unit, and we describe the history of the unit. This is the first episode of the series, so I hope you enjoy it. And let's first start with Axis Moscow. To be exact, today we're going to be only doing the premiums. So let's get started. The first unit that we have up is the 343rd Infantry Regiment of the 183rd Infantry Division. This division was formed during the second draft, or Auslauungswelle. So basically what Germany did during the war is that they divided the multiple drafts into waves, and since it was raised in the 7th wave, it means it was raised during the 7th draft. It was raised on November 28th, 1939 in Württemberg. It participated in the French campaign in 1940, and then it was relocated to the Protectorate of Bohemia and Moravia, after which it participated in the invasion of Yugoslavia. In June 1941, it participated on the attack of the USSR, part of the 20th Army Corps. The division fought near Smolensk and Moscow. Nothing is much known about its performance in Moscow, but by the 22nd of October 1943, the 183rd Infantry Division has suffered numerous losses and emerged with other battley infantry groups into Corps Detachment C. The unit itself was disbanded, and the Corps Detachment C became Army Group North Ukraine, and which was in July 1944. Army Group Ukraine was badly destroyed in the Brody Pocket. So that is it for the 143rd Infantry Regiment of the 183rd Infantry Division. Next, we have the 11th Panzer Regiment of the 6th Panzer Division. And for those who know, the 6th Panzer Division is kind of famous. The 1st Light Brigade was a mechanized unit established in October of 1937. You might be wondering, why the heck does this have to do with the 6th Panzer Division? Just let me finish. It was intended to take part of roles of army-level reconnaissance and security. In April 1938, the brigade was enlarged to become the 1st Light Division, receiving the 11th Tank Regiment as attachment for the participation in occupation of the Sudetenland. In October 1938, the subsequent disassemblement of Czechoslovakia in March 1939, and in 1939 the division fought in the invasion of Poland. Due to the shortcomings of that campaign revealed in the organization of the Light Divisions, it was reorganized as the 6th Panzer Division in October 1939. So essentially the 1st Light Brigade and later the 1st Light Division became the 6th Panzer Division. As a 6th Panzer Division, it participated in 1940 in the Battle of France. The division contained a single Panzer Regiment, the Panzer Regiment 11, which is what you see in game, which was equipped with the 75 Czechoslovakian-built Panzer 38Ts. The division was part of German advance to the English Channel through Belgium. It then swung back towards the French and Swiss border after relocating to East Prussia in September 1940, where it remained until June of 1941. At that time, the German invasion of the Soviet Union, the division had up to 239 tanks, but only 12 of them were Panzer IIIs. Its first action during Barbarossa was under the command of Army Group North for Leningrad. The division also part of the Battle of Regiment on the 23rd of June as Kampfgruppen Steckdorf of the 6th Division. It was overrun by the 2nd Tank Division of the 3rd Soviet Motorized Corps. The German Panzer 38Ts and anti-tank weapons were inefficient against the Soviet heavy tanks at Rezena, and some of them were running out of ammo. Some of the Soviet tanks, is what I'm trying to say, ran out of ammunition, and they still decided to charge German anti-tank guns by driving, I kid you not, over them. The German then concentrated by immobilizing the Soviet tanks by firing at their tracks, and then the rest were taken out by various anti-tank methods by the infantry. The 6th Panzer Division was soon transferred to Army Group Center, where it fought at the Battle of Moscow and the Rzhev-Vyazma salient. With the Soviet counteroffensive of December 1941, the division was pulled back and suffered practically all of its tanks and essentially all of its vehicles, with losses severe enough to consider it rendering it combat incapable, the 6th Panzer Division was sent to France to rebuild in March 1942 and re-equipped with quote-unquote more modern tanks. It was moved to southern France after the Allied invasions in North Africa, and in October, but soon after it was relocated to the southern front of the Eastern Front after the German 6th Army has been trapped at Stalingrad. It was part of the German attempt to break itself. It was part of the failed German attempt to break through the 6th Army, but it itself almost got encircled and had to retreat encirclement itself. That was a mouthful. The division was part of the German retreat and successful counteroffensive and offensives at Kharkov, and then failed to achieve significant initiative at the Battle of Kursk. The 6th Panzer Division was also part of the partly successful relief operation of the Kortsky-Kanensky Pocket, as well as the escape from the Klemets-Podolsky Pocket. So basically what was happening was the Soviets were just trying to encircle the German armies, and at this point the 6th Army was just like running the hell away. After the retreat for Ukraine, the division was sent back to Germany to reorganize, but hastily returned to the Eastern Front in July. After the destruction of Army Group Center during Operation Barbarossa, it was part of the German defense of northern Poland and East Prussia, before it was being relocated to Hungary in 1944, December, of course. It took part in the battles around the siege of Budapest before retreating into Austria, and then it took part in the defense of Vienna. When the city fell, it moved to Czechoslovakia, where it surrendered to the United States Third Army in May of 1945. However, most of its POWs were handed over to the Soviets, which, sadly, well, depending on where you stand, most of them died in the gulags. And that is it for the 11th Panzer Regiment of the 6th Panzer Division. So essentially, this unit had a lot of service, and the 11th Panzer Division is nothing. It has a rich history. After the 6th Panzer Division, we have the 452nd Infantry Regiment of the 252nd Infantry Division. The 252nd Infantry Division was formed on August 26, 1939, on the day of the German mobilization. It was first served in Poland. After the mobilization, the division was assigned for the invasion of Poland as Gerhard von Wunstedt's 2nd Army Group South during the invasion of Poland. The 252nd did not see combat in Poland, and it was noted as temporary occupation duty in the country. After serving in Poland, the 252nd Infantry Division took positions in the Strauss-Palv region during the Phoney War, where once again it did not see action. Again, during the invasion of France, it did not see action since they were on the opposite side of the Maginot Line. The 252nd Infantry Division served under the 33rd Army Corps of the 4th Army during the beginning phase of Operation Barbarossa, where it was pulled in and out of the German reserve. The 252nd Infantry Division subsequently participated in the Battle of Moscow. On November 1st, 1941, during the Battle of Moscow, of course, the division remained in the second line behind the German forward positions. The forward formations of the 252nd Infantry Division were shifted north by the 13th of November, falling behind the 10th Panzer Army on northward to essentially to a position directly opposite of the Soviet 5th Army. Fun fact: during this time, which is November the 11th, 1941, the 452nd Infantry Regiment was dissolved. So if we're counting enlisted game wise, this division only existed before November the 11th, 1941, and after during the Battle of Moscow. So only that time frame. The division itself, the regiment itself, was replaced by the 7th Infantry Regiment. The entire 252nd Infantry Division has been called back into the line to assist the 9th Corps in taking Istra, which has been taken by the 26th of November. This forced the remaining Soviet armies to fall back to the defensive belts of Moscow. In the first few weeks of December 1941, Izhmos was recaptured by Soviet troops. By the 11th of December, it signaled the beginning of the Soviet counteroffensive in the Moscow sector. Nothing much is known about the division after and during the Soviet counteroffensive. From February to October of 1943, the 252nd Infantry Division fought at the battles in the Yenya area. On the 6th of August of 1943, 252nd was attacked simultaneously by 9 Soviet divisions and 2 armored brigades. The 252nd Infantry Division was numbering 10,000 at a time and was shelled by 50,000 projectiles in a window of 150 minutes. Ultimately, the Soviet attack was repulsed with severe Red Army losses, including thousands of soldiers and about 100 tanks. The German losses were severe. On the 4th of April 1944, the 252nd underwent major reconstruction. Its heavily battered infantry formations were formed into grenadier regiments, and a few more grenadier regiments were given to the 252nd. Starting on the 23rd of June 1944, the Soviet Red Army launched their massive summer offensive codenamed Operation Bagration. What this was basically a Soviet offensive, essentially the Soviet version of Operation Barbarossa. And its date, June 23rd, is a big call sign that it's a revenge for the Soviets. The 252nd, which was newly reformed, was redeployed into the German defensive lines during Operation Bagration, and it received commendations from the German High Command for conducting their operations. In late 1944, the 252nd participated in the retreat across Lithuania to Poland and eventually was trapped in Danzig on the Hel Peninsula. On 30th of March 1945, large portions of the 252nd were captured when the Soviet Red Army captured and besieged Danzig as part of the Soviet East Pomeranian offensive. Small parts of the division and personnel were successfully evacuated, but the division itself stopped existing as a military functional unit. The remnants of the division were trapped on Hel Peninsula and forced to surrender to the Red Army on the 8th of May 1945. So at the beginning stage, the 252nd Infantry Division was essentially a defense regiment. After Operation Barbarossa, did it only see action, and after that, it was quite successful at defending, but I wouldn't use this as an attack, instrument of attack. So, pretty good regiment overall. Next up, we have the 206th Infantry Engineer Battalion of the 206th Infantry Division. The 206th was raised on the August 17th of 1939 in East Prussia. It served during the invasion of Poland as a reserve division for Army Group North, and the 206th participated in Operation Typhoon. The history between this and that is quite massive, so not much is known from that point to this point. Nothing is said about the invasion of France, although it's highly likely that this regiment/division did not participate in the invasion of France. It is highly likely that it just remained on the Eastern Front. And all of this is speculation. It was part of 23rd Corps under the 9th Army, which also participated in the Soviet Vyazma operation. And basically what this was the Soviets were trying to take lost ground after the Moscow offensives, which they suffered extremely heavy casualties. Once again, we don't know much about what happened during the Moscow time, so yeah, that's kind of interesting. But after 1945, we do start to know a lot more. From the 8th of January to 20th of April 1942, it served... after 1942, we start knowing a lot more, not 1949. So from the 8th of January to the 20th of April 1942, it served once again in 23rd Corps under the 9th Army at Moldy Tud sector of the Ryazma salient, where it came under attack of the under attack by the Soviet 39th Army of the Kaliningrad Front. The division is known to have used mortar ones in January of 1943 to the December of 1943. In mid-1944, the division was defending the Baptist salient as part of the 3rd Panzer Army's 53rd Corps. The Soviet offensive Operation Bagration, the Soviet summer offensive, which commenced on the 22nd of June, saw the entire corps encircled within a matter of days. While OKH, German High Command, realized the situation was hopeless, it authorized a breakout for all the divisions except for the 206, which it was ordered to stay in Vitebsk to fight to the last man. By the 26th of June, Soviet forces had fought all their way into the city, and General Clausewitz, 53rd Corps commander, which had direct authority over 206, ordered the 206 to withdraw, which was a defiance to OKH, or German High Command's, orders. However, it was too late. Most of all the soldiers were killed or captured and taken prisoner. Most of its officers were given to the NKVD after their captivity. And that is all we know of the 206 Engineer Battalion of the 206 Infantry Division. Next we have the third group of JG27, or Jagdgeschwader 27. As a note, a Jagdgeschwader, or certain German aircraft formation, which I am terribly butchering, could field up to 90 to 120 aircraft. Below them is a group, or Gruppe, which is referenced in Roman numerals. So, the third Gruppe of JG27 is the third group of Jagdgeschwader 27. Once again, I am butchering that name, so from now on, Jagdgeschwader, whatever, is going to be referred to me only as JG. So yeah. JG27 was located in West Germany during the Phony War. During the Phony War, it did not see much action, like with most units. That said, JG27 was allocated to Major General Richthofen's 8th Frigate Corps. The JG27 will serve with Richthofen's Air Corps in Belgium, France, and the Low Countries. During the Battle of Britain, it was essentially able to trade casualties with the 1AF. For example, JG27 will lose 3 Messerschmitts while shooting down 4 Hurricanes. One of their opponents will be the 303rd Polish from the Royal Air Force. That was one of their famous opponents. Most of the JG27 returned to Germany in the winter of 1940 to 1941. JG27 was part of the German Luftwaffe invasion force of the invasion of Yugoslavia and the attack on Greece. Once again, JG27 will open the campaign by strafing hangars in the enemy air bases, and once again, like with the Battle of Britain, it will meet again with their rivals, the RAF. JG27 was then tasked with supporting Operation Barbarossa, which was the invasion of the Soviet Union, which began the war on the Eastern Front. On the opening day of June 22nd, JG27 will support German bombers to bomb Russian airfields and other major targets. On the 24th of June, Western Front of the Soviet Air Force ordered 27 Ilyushin DB-3s bombers of the 53rd BAP to attack German forces at Grodno. These were intercepted by the second group of JG27. 9 of the Bf-109s from JG27 were able to shoot down 56 Soviet aircraft. So, pretty impressive. Once again, large numbers of Soviet bombers tried to attack again at German airfields this time, but JG27, with the help of other formations, would destroy 53 bombers and from the Soviet Air Force, with the cost of 1 Bf-109. That said, there were Soviet successes, in what you meant by success is on the 29th of June, 9 Soviet bombers were able to attack Vilnius and destroy 10 aircraft belonging to JG27 and other formations. This left the second group of JG27 with only 10 serviceable Bf-109s, and the decision was taken to remove it from the Eastern Front only after 7 days of fighting. The remaining Bf-109s were given to the third group of JG27, and the third group will be fighting in Smolensk. This is the same group that we have in Enlisted in July, and encounter the new Soviet PE-2 bombers, which the group claimed 2 kills over Smolensk. On the 20th of August, JG27 supported the drive to Leningrad. Later, JG27 provided Ju-57 transport groups with air cover in reinforcing Luban. Soviet fighter units were able to intercept, but did not achieve success because JG27 was able to prevent them. In late September, JG27 was to receive Spanish volunteers, which they themselves, the Spanish volunteers, would claim 160 aircraft destroyed until October 1943, with the losses of 20 for the Spanish volunteers. Group 3 was deployed to support Army Group Center northwestern thrust against Moscow, and nothing much is known about the Battle of Moscow, but from speculation, it shouldn't have fared too well considering the fact that at this point most of JG27 would be exhausted. JG27 will then return to Germany to re-equip with the Bf 109Fs, and then they will move to North Africa to be with the rest of JG27. JG27 will serve with distinction in North Africa, and then it will be moving to Greece, Italy, and Yugoslavia to fight the Americans. And on January 2nd, 1943, JG27 went to support the air defense over Germany, and remained on the Western Front, where it would surrender on the 8th of May, 1945, to the British and the Canadians. So this air group did a lot of stuff. It served at the beginning of the war, obviously not in Poland, but it would serve everywhere, essentially everywhere throughout the rest of the war. After JG27, we have the 7th Panzer Regiment of the 10th Panzer Division. The 10th Panzer Division was formed in Prague in March 1939 and served in the Army Group North, the reserve of Army Group North, during the invasion of Poland the same year. The division participated in the Battle of France, including the Siege of Calais, and in Operation Barbarossa, attached to Army Group Center in 1941. After taking heavy casualties on the Eastern Front, of which the casualties we don't know where they took in, they were sent back to France for rehabilitation and serve as strategic reserve for any potential Allied invasion. Then the division was then rushed to Tunisia after Operation Torch, where the Allies invaded North Africa, and spent 6 months in that theater, where engaged both British and American forces. It suffered severe losses to the United States at some of the first encounters under General Field Marshal Rommel at the Battle of Kasserine Pass, which was in 1943. It was later lost in the General Axis surrender in North Africa in March 1943 and officially disbanded in June of 1943. The division was never rebuilt, but a fun fact is that members of the 10th Panzer Division participated in the 20th July plot to kill Adolf Hitler in 1944. To honor their sacrifice, the Bundeswehr, the current German army right now, formed the 10th Armored Division in 1959 upon the formation of the West German Army. So that's an interesting note. After the 10th Panzer Division, we have the 78th Infantry, the 195th Infantry Regiment of the 78th Infantry Division. The 78th Infantry Division was raised in August of 1939 in Stuttgart, incorporating reservists from the Brandenburg and Württemberg divisions. It was stationed in France for occupation duties during the summer of 1940 and through the spring of 1941. It was then transferred for Operation Barbarossa with the attachment to Armed Group Center. The division advanced through the Polish border to the gates of Moscow, being halted only on the 3rd of December by Soviet forces. By January the 7th, 1942, the division has been pushed back to the Ruga-Zuskida, where the Soviet winter offensive was halted. The division was formed on the southern-eastern flank of the Rzhev-Vyman salient, where it would suffer heavy losses in late 1942. At the beginning of 1943, it would reorganize as the 78th Sturm Division with additional adjustments to its strength and organization. This will eventually include subordinate Sturmgeschütz, heavy assault guns, field mortars and Nuffirbus, rocket launchers, battalion, and a tank destroyer unit equipped with Marder 2s, as well as extra regimental artillery support. With these new organization, the Air Division took part in Operation Citadel, or the Battle of Kursk, as part of 23rd Corps of the 9th Army, being involved in the fighting at Ponry. During the following Soviet counteroffensive, the division was first transferred to the 9th Army on the 2nd Panzer Army in July, and then they again back to the 4th Army in September, where the division was forced to take part in the Panzer Fulton Line of East Orsa. During June to July 1944, Soviet offensive against Army Group Center, Operation Bagration, the division was assigned to defend the main Moscow-Minsk Railroad and the town of Orsa. During the fighting, the division was destroyed, having failed to break out of an encirclement near Minsk on the night of the 5th and 6th of July. The surviving elements was taken over by the 565th Volksgrenadier Division, but later that month, the division was reconstituted as the 78th Grenadier Division. In October 1944, it was renamed as the 78th Volksgrenadier Division, and in early of 1945, it was renamed again to the 78th Volkssturm Division, being assigned to Army Group Center. It was among the forces of 1st Panzer Army, which it would push from Upper Silesia into Czechoslovakia. Its troops would surrender to the Soviets near Oslama at the end of the war in May. So, this unit, the 78th Infantry Division, has been named not only once, but 3 times, and actually 4 if you really count it. So, getting destroyed once, renaming it, and then getting destroyed again, then we just rename it. But yeah, pretty interesting unit. And that's it for the 78th Infantry Division. That ends our premium section of Enlisted Axis Moscow squads. I hope you enjoyed this video, and in the next episode, we'll come up with the history of the squads of the non-premiums. So have a great day, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Now before you leave, I would like to thank you very much for watching this video. I will be honored if you could like and subscribe to the channel. Remember, more videos are coming out, so it is a good idea to click on that notification button. Anyways, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.